You are not as free as you think you are. Most of what you call choice is habit. Most of what you call desire is conditioning. And most of what you call self is a collection of reactions you never examined. Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, wrote to himself not about power, but about discipline of the inner world. His quiet insistence was unsettling. If you cannot govern your own mind, no throne will save you. In the next minutes, you will not learn how to control the world. You will learn something far more difficult and far more liberating. How to stop being controlled by it. You will see how fear loses its grip, how failure changes its meaning, and how a different kind of strength, quiet, precise, unshakable, can be practiced in ordinary life. The first reversal is simple and uncomfortable. We believe peace comes from arranging external conditions. Aurelius believed peace comes from refusing to be arranged by them. When he faced war, betrayal, and plague, he did not wait for calm. He trained his perception. He reminded himself, events are not what disturb us, but the judgments we attach to them. Consider a modern moment. Your message is ignored. Your work is criticized. A plan collapses. The immediate impulse is interpretation, disrespect, incompetence, loss. But between the event and the interpretation, there is a space, small, often invisible, where mastery begins. In that space, you can choose a different sentence. This is data, not a verdict. This is an obstacle, not a definition. The hard truth is that you rehearse your suffering. You repeat the same narratives until they feel like reality. Aurelius interrupts this habit with a discipline. Describe things as they are, without adornment. Not this is terrible, but this is a delay. Not I'm a failure, but this attempt did not work. Language, stripped of drama, becomes a tool of freedom. Yet here is the second reversal. Detachment is not indifference. It is deeper engagement without emotional entanglement. To care without clinging, to act without panic, to commit without being possessed by outcomes. This is not withdrawal from life. It is a more precise participation in it. Imagine you are preparing for something that matters. A presentation, a conversation, a decision. Anxiety whispers that everything depends on the result. Aurelius would ask you to separate what depends on you from what does not. Your effort, your clarity, your integrity, these are yours. The reaction of others, the timing of events, the accidents of circumstance, these are not. When you place your identity on what is not yours, you guarantee instability. There is another hard truth. You do not rise to your ideals, you fall to your habits. Aurelius did not trust inspiration. He trusted repetition. Each morning, he anticipated difficulty. People will be ungrateful, arrogant, deceitful. Not to become cynical, but to become prepared. When reality matches expectation, frustration has nowhere to grow. A brief pause here. If this resonates with you, consider subscribing and sharing a thoughtful comment about what part of your life demands more self-mastery. Not for approval, but to make your intention visible. Now the journey deepens. The third reversal. Obstacles are not interruptions to your path, they are the path. This is not a poetic metaphor. It is a practical instruction. Every difficulty contains a demand for a specific virtue: patience, courage, restraint, clarity. When you meet the demand, the obstacle transforms into training. Picture a long delay, a missed opportunity, a closed door. The instinct is resistance, but resistance without direction becomes exhaustion. Aurelius would ask, what is this moment asking me to practice? If the answer is patience, then the delay is not wasted. If the answer is courage, then the closed door is not final. You are not waiting for life to begin. Life is asking you to begin differently. The fourth reversal challenges the way you understand control. We think control means making things happen. For the Stoic, control means choosing your response. This is smaller than we prefer, but stronger than we imagine. It cannot guarantee outcomes, but it can guarantee character. In a world of constant comparison, this becomes essential. You see others advancing, succeeding, being recognized. Envy emerges quietly, then grows. Aurelius would remind you, you are comparing your internal effort to their external display. You do not see their discipline, their doubts, their costs. To measure yourself against appearances is to build your identity on illusions. Another hard truth: time is not something you have, it is something you are losing. Aurelius returned to this again and again, not to create urgency for productivity, but to create urgency for presence. When you waste time in resentment, in distraction, in imagined scenarios, you are not merely passing minutes, you are shaping a life you will later call empty. So the practice becomes immediate and concrete. When anger rises, delay your response. When praise arrives, receive it without dependence. When pain appears, examine it before you amplify it. Each small act of restraint is not suppression. It is alignment. You are bringing your actions closer to your values instead of letting impulses dictate direction. The fifth reversal is perhaps the most difficult. We believe strength is the absence of vulnerability. Aurelius understood strength as the capacity to remain steady within it, to feel fear and still act, to feel loss and still choose dignity, to feel uncertainty and still move with clarity. Think of a conversation you are avoiding, a truth you hesitate to speak, a boundary you delay setting. The mind creates elaborate reasons. Not now, not yet, not worth the risk. But beneath those reasons is a simpler fact. You are protecting comfort at the cost of integrity. Self-mastery is not loud. It is the quiet decision to align action with what you know to be right, even when it is inconvenient. And finally, the last reversal. You are not here to be remembered, you are here to live well. Aurelius, at the height of power, wrote about the smallness of fame and the brevity of reputation. What remains is not how widely you were known, but how well you governed yourself. This is where the philosophy becomes intimate, not a system to admire, but a discipline to practice. When you wake, you choose your attention. When you speak, you choose your words. When you act, you choose your standard. These choices accumulate quietly into a life that feels coherent from the inside. There will be days when you fail, when you react, when you forget, when you fall back into old patterns. Aurelius expected this. He did not demand perfection. He demanded return. Again and again, return to clarity, return to effort, return to the small space between event and judgment. If there is one thing to carry with you, it is this. You cannot command what happens, but you can become the kind of person for whom what happens matters less. Not because life becomes easier, but because you become steadier. And in that steadiness, something rare emerges. Not the absence of chaos, but the presence of order within it. Not a life without pain, but a life not ruled by it. Not control over the world, but freedom from its grip. You are not as free as you think you are, but you can become freer than you have ever been. One judgment, one response, one deliberate act at a time.